myself, Kenny Swain, and Withy got called up into the home international squads at the end of that. There was a players dropped out who didn't want to play in the team at the time, and brought in all the players who really wanted a cap, and maybe and give us a chance. But so Willie got his caps, but Kenny and I, we sat on the bench for 2 games. We're totally disappointed at the end of it, because just getting 5 minutes might have given us that opportunity to get that England name behind, like Tony did. Tony got his caps. He deserved them as well. But Greenwood at the time, he could have got Kenny and I on the pitch. But he was more interested in the result. He didn't want to lose the games. He felt it was important, because the 2 games that we played against Scotland and Wales were at Wembley. The game, I think, where Kenny and I would have got a game would have been in Northern Ireland. But obviously, because of the troubles, we didn't go. So not getting a game, I came away from being on that trip very, very disappointed. That Ron Greenwood couldn't have got us on for 5 minutes. But there you go. There you go. That would have been a nice, fitting end to what had been a great season. So all we did was go away, then reflect on winning the league, and then start thinking about what we were going to do in Europe the next year.
I'm afraid, Dennis, you go into the category of one of the best ever players that's never got an England cap. Like Steve Bruce, etc. It's really.
Howard Kendall.
Another good one. Another one was Steve Perryman. And Steve got a cap in the end, right at the end. But I think it was one of those sort of. I think maybe he went to Australia on a touring.
No, Dennis, you play with me against Iceland in Iceland.
Is that what it was?
But the classic is as a full one.
Right.
And all he kept saying, it was freezing, he kept saying, what the F now am I doing here for an England cap? And I actually remember it, he was thinking, well, you're going to get a cap. But he was disappointed. It was classed as England B, but it was against Iceland, but he got one.
All right.
Dennis, can we go back to the Arsenal thing? What people forget, they were unbeaten that year at Highbury.
Right.
Unbeaten at home at Villa. So it was a tough game anyhow, So we done well.
Very well. Tony, on England caps, you didn't get as many as you should have done. You got 6 at least.
Yeah, but listen, at the end of the day, I always say this. I was never left winger. I didn't want to play. I knew England. I knew it wasn't going to work for me with Ron Greenwood. I remember making my debut against Northern Ireland at Wembley, and they used to say the old Wembley, the sun shines on the royal box. And what it means by that, when it's frosty, for 3 yards inside, you cannot stand up. On the opposite side, you cannot stand up night game. And I still remember playing against the Arsenal left back, Sammy Nelson.
Yeah,
good player. Neither of us could stand up. It was it should have been played. It was about 3 yards, 4 yards in. Couldn't stand it. Had to play wide. And I can remember him we're going off at half time. And his speech, he said, "We'll have a right battle second half. We'll have a go at each other." He went and played me back on the same wing, Greenwood, and then he took me off 20 minutes before the end for the big Cyril. I knew then he ain't going to play me. He said he didn't give me a chance. Disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. I said, look, I can't stand up out there. How do you expect me to produce anything? But it's gone. But at the end of the day, listen, you got Gary Shaw, you had Dennis Mortimer, and Kenny Swain. Never got England caps. Disgraceful. Well, you look at Gary Shaw. By the time he's 21, he'd won everything. He'd probably have today, and he'd had 50 caps. And he didn't get one. But what can you do? I'm very grateful. At least I got a few, and I'm very grateful for it. But I can honestly say one thing. International football was very easy. It would have suited someone like Morty getting past it. It wasn't hard, but you just got to be accepted, haven't you? And I just heard Morty, and I felt sorry for him there. He was saying he could have put him on. How many caps are given now to people who come on for 2 minutes?
Yeah.
What's all that about? It's the end of the day. People say, oh, God. Well, when their career's finished, David Beckham, example, how many caps has he won for coming on for the last few minutes? He's probably 30 caps. It's crazy. I think it should be, and it won't happen now. It should be like people like Bobby Charl and Bob, when you play against good sides and you get a cap, But now they're just giving it for the sake, and I think it lose that bit of pride, doesn't it? But going back, Dennis, Neil, and this will suit you. Big Cyril, when I was making my debut, come on. And the cheeky so-and-so, I was driving that time, he said to me, it was a Wednesday night, he said, Tony, I've just come on for you, took on. I said, is there any chance you drop me off at Liberties? I had to drive all the way along and drop me off at Liberties on about 2 o'clock Wednesday morning. I said, Cyril, get out, I've had enough of this. It's brilliant.
I mean, the one thing you mentioned there about Ron Greenwood, I mean, to most people, he was very tactically astute, etc., and was kind of before his time. But Laurie Cunningham didn't get anything very much under Greenwood either. And
Neil, can I say something? He absolutely adored Liverpool, and it's about Liverpool. So he was going to give Liverpool players caps all the time.
But
if you read about him, he absolutely adored Liverpool. Everything about Liverpool. So he was going to give them the caps all the time. Don't get me wrong, we're good players anyhow, so they deserve it. But
there was half the team was Liverpool, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was no, and I'm saying I'm not blowing smoke up Dennis's backside here, but there was no better midfield player at his job in the country that year. Nobody could live with him. And it's Souness. But you talk about one of how many caps, but there's nobody else. You know what I mean? And not to get an England cap was absolute disgraceful. Like, you know what I mean? And but that's gone. You can't do nothing about that now, can you? Like, but it's frustrating. Like Gary Shaw, like you say, 21, he'd won everything. He never got an England cap. It's wrong, isn't it?
It is wrong. It is wrong.
But that's gone. You can't do nothing. You know yourself, Neil, in the Midlands, Big Cyril, Brian Robson example. It took him 2 or 3 years for to give him a cap. Was there a better left back than Derek Statham?
No,
not many.
No, not many.
Well, I think at the time was who was in there at the time that played for Arsenal left back.
Well, didn't he play?
Kenny Sanson.
Kenny Sanson.
Yeah. You see, what I found was, and this is what happened. The way I looked at Kenny Sanson was, he got himself established, and then it just became an easy job for him. And I don't think the managers at the time wanted to let him leave him out of the team. And I felt this happened an awful lot with the England teams. The same squads got picked every time. And a good mate of mine, Terry McDermott, who was at KB Boys with me, Terry must have been with every squad over 5 or 6 years, but only played a handful of games. And because he was in the squad, and he was playing for Liverpool, obviously, he always got picked for the team, but he never played hardly. Because I don't think Terry played very similar to the way I played, and I don't think the way we played, Terry and I, sort of fitted in with the people that were in. I don't think they wanted people who like Terry and I like to get forward from a midfield area and get beyond the forwards. I don't think he wanted midfield players like that. I think the managers were in there wanted players who would get the ball, pass it. Yeah, I mean, I remember what's the name. Ex-Fulham manager, played for Tottenham, midfield.
Mullery,
yeah.
Not Mullery, no. After that, Scott Parker.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. Right.
Yeah, I remember Scott Parker playing, and every time I watched him play, I tried to count the number of times he played a forward pass. Mm. He never played a forward pass. Right. And I thought to myself, why is he in the team if he's a midfield player? Why is he never making a forward pass? Everything about Scott was safety. Play it sideways, play it back. Get it again, play it sideways, play it back. What he never did was play a forward pass. It wasn't later on in his career when he was playing this bit, where he started to realise that the ball actually could go forward from his foot. But there were players who just got in the team, and I kept on looking at and thinking to myself, how do they keep on retaining the role?
1 second, the door's going. 1 second.
Yeah, I just wondered how they could stay in the team. But I think what happened with the team is that these teams got picked on a regular basis. I go back to my Coventry days, Neil. Yeah. I was in the very first team that Don Ravy picked. Yeah, when he became manager.
Right.
And it was a game. It was a game that he put together for one of the club, the Sheffield Wednesday club doctor, and it was a testimonial game for him, and he was putting an England team together, and I was in that team, and John Gidman was in that team as well. There was quite a few names, and that was the very first team he ever picked, as an England team, and I was about 22 at the time. Now, if I'd have gone on, I didn't play that day because we had a game at Coventry, so I didn't play. But if I'd have played that game and did well, yeah, then I might have been now one of those players that now would stay in the team, you know, forever and ever. Maybe not playing all the time, but certainly be part of the system, you know. But that was a chance missed. And the other thing is because I then got an injury for the rest of that season, I finished the season injured. So at the end of the season, when the home internationals came along, you know, that was a chance now to get into the squad, but it never happened. So all the way through my career, you know, especially in those early days when I was playing at Coventry, and I was starting to really get, you know, a sort of good name for myself. I always felt I'd get there, but I always had an injury in the end, which sort of stopped me from getting into the England team at the wrong time.
Right.
But listen, you know, there were great players for England, but there were certainly players, like Tony said, who pick up caps these days. I mean, Nigel Spink got a cap because he went with an England touring party to Australia. John Gregory got England caps for going with the England touring party. So you know, if you were to look at the list through and all that, you know, well, good luck to them. You know, they were there at the right time at the right place, and the right manager was there to take them on. But Ron Greenwood disappointed me when Kenny and I were in the squad, and it's quite interesting because I've read Kenny's book. Kenny brought a book out not long ago, and Kenny talks about when he was with the England squad, like I do now. And he said he's been talking to Ron Greenwood, had pulled him to one side and said, look, before the game against Wales on the Wednesday and then the game against Scotland on the Saturday, he said to Ken, you'll get on in this game. And Kenny just sort of, that made Kenny sort of panic a little bit, thinking, I'm going to get an England cap here. I'm going to get an England cap, you know. How fantastic, because he'd been voted also the best right back in the country by the PFA. Yeah, Kenny. Yeah. So you know, that would have been good for him from that point of view. He was so disappointed when Ron Greenwood didn't put him on. Yeah. And you know, and after Ron Greenwood telling him he would be coming on, Ron Greenwood said nothing to me. I probably should have guessed I was never going to get on.
Anyway, the next season, nothing could stop you winning the European Cup. So we'll forget England for a moment and talk about that glorious run to the final.
Before you go about the England thing, one thing: a fella scored two winning goals European Cup final. I don't think he got an England cap. Alan Kennedy.
I think you might be right.
I think you're right there. Yeah,
two winning goals in the European Cup finals. Everything. Never got one England cap.
No.
I'd be surprised if he did. I don't think he did.
No, I think you're right.
I don't think so.
Because they tended to play Mick Mills as a right footer at left back, didn't they?
Yeah. Or they play it safe to put, you know, Kenny Sanson there or something like that, you know. So no problem.
So we're going to just ignore the European Cup then, right? We'll move on to something else. Come on, lads, talk about the European Cup. Come on.
Who? Dennis, you're the captain.
Well, I mean, as we said in the intro, the fact that you won the league took most people, apart from you, by surprise. But I think the fact that you then were able to sustain that through the following season and get to the final of the European Cup was just.
Can I speak on this one then? I think we didn't know what to expect, but we're just looking at our league. Our league was by far the strongest in Europe because the European Cup. It's been 5 seasons, has it? 6 seasons in our league. I think it has, something like that. Continually, 5-6 seasons. I don't know I can't remember what it was. So I looked at it logically. Well, if we can win our league and come to our league, we must be able to hold our own against these lads in Europe. We didn't know what to expect because, you know, like you're playing against, you know, the cream, the crop of the crop. So we didn't really know what to expect. But listen, I found it very, very easy. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, you know, I didn't find any game really hard at all. To me, it was an experience and great experience. You're playing against the best in the business. So you test yourself against the best in the business, like, you know, and, you know, and I'm thinking to me, back of my mind, thinking, well, you know, we've won the hardest league in the world, and the European Cup, Champions League, been in our league for 5-6 seasons. So if we win our league, we've got half a chance. As it proven right.
was there a particular match, even though you said you enjoyed them and didn't fear them and enjoyed them? Was there one particular match in the entire competition that really tested you? Do you think?
Dynamo Berlin.
The final.
Well, the final, yeah. I was kind of thinking on the final, yes, of course, because that was.
I think Dennis will tell you this. Dynamo Berlin. I think they'd knocked Liverpool out that, and there were some sides. And I tell you what, Neil, I'll be quick on this. I'm fed up of people going to say, Peter, with the European Cup and Nigel Spinks. We won the European Cup on that night when Jimmy Rimmer saved the penalty. If they hadn't saved the penalty, I was lucky enough to get the rebound and went and scored the second goal. We would have went out that night. If you look at a cup competition, Dennis will tell you, and reporters, you can look back over the rounds and think that was a time when the cup was ours, and that was Dynamo Berlin. They were 1-0 up, I think, at the time, or 1-1, and Jimmy Rimmer saved the penalty, and they were a good side, and they beat us 1-0 at Villa Park. I think we only conceded 2 goals in 9 games. We only conceded 2 goals, and that was against them. So they were a very, very, very good side. So brilliant side, very good.
But amazingly, you lost your manager, didn't you, in the February of that season, Ron Saunders. Did you fear that was going to derail everything? Obviously Tony Barton came in, who you both knew, but were you fearful that was going to wreck the season?
Dennis?
Not really, John. You see, we had such a good, we had such an experienced and team, and lots of older players who, we've probably been through the situation before, where you've either been transferred or you've lost a manager or something. And I can tell you about footballers is that when a manager goes, they don't think much of it, players, because we've just got to get on with our job. So, and a lot of the time when a manager goes, it could be the reason why it could be is because you've not been playing very well and things haven't been happening for on the pitch. But as far as we were concerned, on the pitch, everything was going well. So Ron left of his own accord for something that really wasn't related to what was happening on the pitch. It was all about contracts. So there was no reason for that to have put any kind of X on what we were doing. We knew what we had to do. We had the players, as I said earlier, who were strong enough, who were experienced enough to carry us through. If you look at the centre spine of our team, you had Alan Evans, Ken McNaught, Jimmy Rimmer. We had Kenny Swain. There was myself and Des. The older ones. We had Peter Widow. We had the quality from the point of view of experience to take us through. And the thing was, I think the important thing is that when Tony came in, Tony didn't mess about with us. He didn't now come in thinking, because at the time we weren't doing very well in the league. He could easily, he could have changed tack really. He could have said to himself, well, the league is more important than winning the European Cup. But he obviously must have felt that we could win it, because he didn't do anything. He didn't make any changes. We stayed the same players. We carried on playing and doing and training what we were used to doing. And from that point on, Tony just really kept the boat ticking over. And I think that was important. We could have easily, at Villa, gone for a new manager. The new manager coming in might not have liked what was happening at the club. He might have started to fiddle about with it. I think if that had happened, I think that would have I think that might have caused a problem in the playing in the European Cup. I think because we were we built up a good resilience in the games. As Tony said, we only conceded 2 goals, which isn't bad. And
that is extraordinary when you think about it.
It was, but the Eastern Bloc teams as well. If people thought we were fit as a team, that they showed you what fitness was all about, because they were all built like tanks. They all had so much strength and physicality about them, and you had to match them for that. But the other thing is what we were able to match them was that we had individual players, i.e. like Tony, who on scoring that second goal, which took us to, sort of through really, when he ran the length of the pitch, no one could catch him. And he's running with the ball. and he's got down there and he put the ball in the back of the net. So we knew that we had to live with their physicality as much as anything else.
Yeah, Dennis, can I say something? They didn't get their strength from Lucasade, mate. I guarantee you that.
It's alleged.
I mean, it wasn't some Lucasade or these drinks you have on the side and make them Supermen. I think we all know where they got the strength from. It was proven years later, wasn't it? But Dennis was quite correct. I've never played against lads so big and strong. And to be honest, the balls, when you're a kid, Neil, all the lads, and you play football with your mates, and the ball's hard and you can't kick it, you want to go home. Well, I felt like that in Russia, in East Berlin. I said, I can't kick this, I want to go home. It was so hard. Oh, they were phenomenal. Yeah. But look, can I go back to the situation about when Tony Barton, Ron Sons left? You could have put blindfolds on all the team. They knew it. That team knew exactly how to play. What Saunders done from the young lads all the way to, like Dennis said, he built 4 teams or 3 teams over a long period of time. When you signed for the Villa at 15, you trained exactly the same as the first team lads did. So if you get to 18, 19, you're going in, it's just like putting an old pair of socks on. It was easy. So as soon as he went, nothing. The best thing that happened, Tony Barton never tried to change anything. Just let it go on. Because the lads, honestly, they knew exactly it was a machine. They knew exactly what they had to do, and that was it, really, basically. So Tony Barton's forte was not change anything, like Dennis said.
Did you ever bump into Ron afterwards?
I went to see Ron a few times. Me and Gordon Cowans went to see him in his house when he wasn't very well, and at first he didn't recognise me. Then when he recognised who I was, I can't even tell what he said to me. But me and Ron got on really well. We had a love-hate relationship, and I'm very grateful that I met the man, and he was, he got the best out of me, by maybe having a go at me all the time. He's never ever praised me, Gordon Towns, and Gary Shaw ever in our lives. In fact, he used to take people into the box, young apprentices into the box, like people like Brian McClure, and count how many tackles me and Gary Shaw used to do in a game. Well, Gary might have scored a goal, I might have made it, but we come in, and Dennis will say, we come at half time, he'd go, how many tackles you win? I said, tackles? The only tackle I know is in a bleeding fishing shop, don't know anything else. But that's what it was like. He knew the ability-wise we'd look after himself, but it's that other side of, getting behind the ball and working as a team, and that's what he worked on his lads, and I'm very grateful for that.
But it must be hard to bear, wasn't it? He missed out on the European Cup, a few months earlier. I know it's of his own accord because it was over a contract issue, but he missed out on probably one of the greatest, well, if the greatest night of Villa's history. Well,
I would say that. Yeah, I know he said it all, man. I don't know if it is in his contract that he had a few bob. He won the European Cup. He might have, because I think he was drinking brandy at home. So no, fair credit to him. Obviously, but listen, when I hear all these people say, I remember Roy Keane once saying, when he didn't play at Wembley at a European Cup final, it's great for lads. What a load of garbage. If you're not playing, not involved, you feel left out. It's as simple as that. It's only human nature. So yeah, he would have been grateful to the society he built, but obviously he would like to have been there. Simple as that.
Are you? How surprised are you guys that we're talking now 40 years on from there, and Villa haven't won a single thing since then? Well, apart from promotion back to the Premier League. I mean, it's an extraordinary amount of time for a club like that not to have won anything.
Can I say 2 words? It'll sum it up. Doug Ellis.
Oh, Deadly. You think Deadly was to blame, yeah?
Of course he was. No, you were there then. You know yourself, mate. Disgraceful what he done to that team. Listen, I won't speak out mine. I didn't like him. He cheated me badly. He come over. That team had another 18 months to play. Probably 2 years. With all the young lads at the club, Everton, when I won Everton in the mid-80s, we, man for man, were a better team than Everton. And we had the FA Youth Cup winners. You had people like Brian McClure, couldn't get in reserves, Tony Durago. That club was set up for the next 5 or 6 years. And one man come and destroyed it. I'm gutted for a simple reason. I would like to have come out of my career with a few more trophies. And don't forget, when he comes to Villa, I was only 27. 9 months later, I couldn't even get in Villa's side. Yeah. I wasn't in my prime.
In what way, Tony, did he destroy it?
He got rid of all the best players. Got rid of everything what he wanted to do. He wanted to pick his own team. Simple as that. The dressing room went from being a great place to not everybody's looking over the shoulder. I'll tell you an example of what he's like. And Dennis will tell you this. He can back me up here. We had a meeting when he took over, and he said, "You're all taking a pay cut. We'd won the league, European Cup. I think we're going to play. We just won the Super Cup. Or going to play in this peak Barcelona. And we're going to play in the World Club Championship." And Dennis will back this. He said, and Neil will probably know about this, West Brom, Blues, and players, they were on basic more than us, lads. We were on a basic, all the lads. But we got paid for winning the top 3 or 4 of the teams. Our money was made on that for getting success. Not, you had to get the money, you had to win, first of all. Doug said, "No, you're all taking a pay cut." And the lads were saying, I know Dennis and Ken saying, "No, these lads are on more than us. Why should we be? We've just won all the top honours any team could win. You should be giving us rewards, not asking to take pay cuts." He went down to Villa Park that same week and made himself first paid director of football. So that's what he was like. And listen, if Neil, you know what he's like, Dylan. You know what Doug like is. Listen, I could talk about him all day, but I don't want to. I'm talking to you lads, nice lads. Right? Dennis, I can't believe Dennis is shut up about this one.
So I've got to let you talk. I've got to let you rant and rave about him, mate. You do it better than me. Yeah.
Well, you know what he's like, Dennis. He's just a million stories about him. A million stories.
Yeah. No. Well, the thing is, you see, I mean, what I like when I think of Doug, what I think about now is the lies he told all the time, and having read his book as well called Deadly, yeah, he's even got it wrong. With it, there's a picture actually in the book of him being thrown in the bath with the players at the League Cup final. But it says the 77 Cup final against Everton. But it's got people like Brian. It's got Chico Hamilton, and it's got Leighton Phillips. It's got who's the other one? What's the name? Played up front for them. Keith Leonard. So these are Chico Hamilton. So these are in the bath. Rossi. Yeah.
Ross, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they played in the 75 one, right? Not the 77 one. Yeah. And I can't believe that they got that one so wrong, because Doug Ellis didn't come into our dressing room after we won the League Cup, Tony. You weren't there at the time.
No, I was. Dennis, I was supporting Everton at Old Trafford.
Yeah, he didn't come into the dressing room after that one. Yeah, in all my time I played at Villa Park, and I was there for 10 seasons. Yeah, I don't think I ever really sat down and had a chat with Doug Ellis until I actually left the football club. So in all the other time we were there, and I think I remember, Neil, I don't know whether you remember when I joined the club. It's in 75, 76.
Just slightly before my time.
Okay. Well,
78.
I remember going into the boardroom and being in front of the press and I don't remember, of all the directors that were there at the club time, I don't remember ever seeing him. Right? And I think it was and I'll tell you a story, because I like Tony said he went to see Ron. I did go and see Ron a few times before he started to lose his marbles. And I had some really good chats with him. Yeah. And I remember talking to him once, and he said, to me, when I signed you from Coventry, he said, the chairman came to me and said, "Why are you buying Dennis Mortimer?" And Ron just said, "Because I think he's going to be a long-term asset to the football club." And Ellis wasn't happy with that, because Ellis wanted to bring in, and this is the thing about Ellis, he always tried to make his point and get across. He wanted to bring in Rodney Marsh, right? And this was the thing about Doug Ellis. I always thought that Doug Ellis always wanted to bring in, I'm not saying this derogatory, but what I call circus clowns. Players who would go out there and entertain the fans for like 5 minutes, but then for the next 95, you don't see them, right? And he did this with Didier Cease. He did it with Ginola. Yeah, and I always felt over the years when I used to go and watch them, that certain players came to the football club. They weren't the manager's buys. They were people that Doug Ellis wanted to bring in. This is what I found about Doug, is that he always wanted, with Ron, he always wanted to put his finger into the pie all the time with Ron, and Ron just didn't like it. No. Ron told me a great story. When Ron had just joined the football club, he told me this story about when he played at Sheffield Wednesday, and he told all the players to be on the bus at 5:30, and they just had a great result. I think they won 3-4-1, and he told all the players to be on the bus at 5:30, because also in those days the directors went on the bus as well. So 5:30 came, all the players were on the bus and the other directors, except one man. Anyway, Ron told the bus driver to go, leaving this man behind. So they've set off now. Anyway, about sort of quarter of an hour later, the bus driver saw the car flashing him coming from behind, got him to stop, and it was Doug Ellis in a taxi. Yeah. But this was Ron, you see. Ron, the thing with Ron is that Ron wanted to be the man in charge. He wanted to be the man who bought the players. He didn't want directors coming to him and telling him who to buy. You know, this was all about, Ron ran the football club, and in those days, they were called managers.
Yeah.
And what they actually did, they actually managed the club, because the directors were normally away. And as Tony said earlier on, Doug Ellis came into the football club and actually now became the first managing director, come chairman, who actually pay himself. Yeah.
Did Doug get onto the coach, by the way? Was he allowed on?
He got on, yeah. He got on because the taxi. John, the thing was is that he wouldn't have paid for the taxi all the way back.
Here's 1-0 before you go about Doug Ellis. You name me any other club that won the league, European Cup, Super Club, going to play in the World Cup. There wasn't not one photograph or one remembrance of the team that won the European Cup or the league at Villa Park for 20 odd years, until Randy Lerner came back. Randy Lerner said, "What's all this about? Doug won't allow it." No, it's just, when you look at that, it's absolutely disgraceful. You know what I mean? And it's a fact. If you've all been back to Villa Park, it is all right now. Until Randy Lerner come 10 years ago, there was nothing. Oh, said this team had won the European Cup, or they won the league, or they won the Super Cup. There's nothing whatsoever. So that just puts it in a nutshell, doesn't it? Really?
What? Nothing at Villa Park at all. Nothing.
Nothing.
Extraordinary.
Nothing.
I'll tell you one very quick story about Doug and I, and that was in the 1980s. No, very quickly. He was, I forget which manager had gone, but anyway, I got on very well with Billy McNeil at that time when he was manager of Man City. He lost his job at Man City, and I said to Doug, "Look, I think Billy McNeil could do you a decent job. Lovely bloke, smashing man, da 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 da." And of course, it was a disaster. He came in, I think, for it's only about a year, wasn't it, Dennis? I think he stayed.
Yeah.
But Doug would always introduce me, if I was in his company, as Harmon, the man who recommended Billy McNeil. And that was kind of a shroud I had to cover for the rest of my. And he's going to say it again now. Oh, but that's all he ever said to me. You're the man who recommended Billy McNeil.
Well.
Anyway.
Yeah, you see, you asked earlier on about, or John, you asked about why it went wrong. Well, first of all, why it went wrong with Villa was that Doug brought in Graham Turner from Shrewsbury Town Football Club to the team, as Tony's just pointed out to you, had been doing all this over the last 3 years or so. Tony had been doing a great job, yeah. And although he'd started to mess about with the team, yeah, Teddy Swain went to Forest, played 2 full seasons under Cloughie, probably the best player on the pitch. Stephen Anderson out the team at the time, yeah. Tony went away, carried on playing. Then McDonald carried on playing, you know. And these players, what Tony was bringing in now were young players. Now, I don't think that was because Tony wanted to bring them in. That was because the man who'd come back wanted now, as Tony said, he wanted to cut the wage bill. It could have been the only reason why he wanted to get rid of certain players. He couldn't get rid of me because I still had a few years on the contract, yeah. But eventually it came to the point when Graham Turner came to the football club. That was the start of things going wrong. And if you remember now, you think of all the managers that came in then until they got Graham Taylor.
Yeah.
Graham Taylor was the one he really wanted, you know. I think when Tony Barton was sacked, and the story I hear is that none of them wanted to take it, so he ended up with a third division manager. And I just think to myself, when Graham Turner came into the football club, he was 36. So he was only like 2 or 3 years older than the likes of myself and Peter With.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he'd never experienced playing in the first division. Yeah. All he'd been doing now was working down below. And I remember an article which I picked up about 3 years later that Graham Turner did with Pat Murphy. And I've still got the cutting today. Yeah. And in that cutting, he talks about how he felt that the players at Aston Villa when he joined, how they were lacking in ability, right? Now, you know, to come out with a statement like that, yeah, to me, you've got to have come from Real Madrid or Barcelona. Yeah, you can't have come from Shrewsbury Town and come out with a statement like that. Yeah. Anyway, you know, Graham just wasn't the man for the job, and he didn't stay long. I actually recommended to Graham Turner once at one of your soccer writers. You know, when the soccer writers used to meet in the midweek.
Yeah.
I actually bumped into him coming out to the Birmingham ground. Yeah, when one of them was being held at Birmingham City ground, and I bumped into him coming out after training, and I said to him, I had a chat with him. I just didn't ignore him. I thought, well, I'll have a chat. This was the first time I'd ever chatted to him since having left the club. And I was just talking to him, and things weren't going very well. I suggested to him that I'd been playing at Brighton the season before, and one of the great players down there who I thought would become a star was Dean Saunders.
Yeah. And
I said to Graham, and I thought what Villa needed was someone like that. They needed a character. You know, to come and play in the team. And I thought Dean could do that. And I suggested that he goes and gets them. He didn't bother. At the end of that season, he went to Oxford for 60,000. Yeah. And then 3 years later, 4 years later, Villa buy him for 2 million.
Yeah. There you go.
So, you know, to me, I thought he was a cert to play. If I'd have been managing or coaching at another club, after I'd finished playing at Brighton, the first player I would have had on my list that I wanted to bring in would have been Dean Saunders, because I knew he had talent. Not only that, he was great round the dressing room as well.
Yeah.
You know, he's a real character. And I just said to Graham, I said, look, if you bring this guy in, he'll set the alt end alight. And he would have done. But he ignored it, yeah. And he could have got him for next to nothing. But he wasn't the right man for the job. And he allowed himself to be dictated by the man who was in charge.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me he didn't. Yeah. And he couldn't say he didn't, because the man in charge now was too powerful for him. Yeah. Not like Ron Saunders. He couldn't get on with Ron. But Ron made it clear to Doug Ellis when he first started, listen, you don't take me on, yeah, because if you do, you'll get nowhere. And that was Ron.
You're saying that.
Yeah.
But Ron left us. Ron left us, but he left us in good hands. Yeah.
As you both know, there's been years of frustration, etc., different managers, different owners. Where are we now with Steven Gerrard and the current owners? Are you both optimistic that there's good times ahead, Tony?
I think Villa have been in the best position for 40 odd years. I really do. I think the new owners, I think they will put the money. Listen, what a great bit of gamemanship from Jack Grealish, 100 million quid. I mean, basically what they've gone and done there, they give Grealish 2 pay rises the last 2 or 3 months, knowing and a bit longer contract, knowing that City are in for him. Everybody knows if they give him bigger contracts, the other team are going to sign it. I've got to pay more money for him. They held out 100 million. Now, what mine with that would say if City would have pulled out towards the end, said it's too much, and they just give Grealish another 2 pay, that's 125 or whatever it was a week, what would people like McGinn would have said? They said, well, I'm as good as him. I want the same money. So they were gamblers, and it's worked for them. You know, and I personally think Villa, I would love to have been in them to have took over the club when we were there 40 years ago, because you would have got another dozen trophies on the table now. But no, I personally think the club in the best position for a long, long time, probably 40 years.
It was a real statement of intent to bring Steven Gerrard in, wasn't it?
Fantastic, yeah. But let's be honest, you know, I remember Perslow saying a couple of months, maybe a year or so ago, he said, I think Steven Gerrard will be a great fit for Aston Villa in the future, but we're happy with Dean. It's amazing what happens in football, isn't it? 18 months down the line, Gerrard's informed, you know what I mean? But, you know, yeah, he's great. He's got every waking up, and, you know, it's going to be hard for him because everybody expects he's going to get success. But if they back him up with the money, there's no reason he can't get success.
Well, they've just brought in a £145 million player in Philip Coutinho. I know it's on loan initially, and it could possibly be a 33 million, permanent move in the summer. That again shows the ambition of the club, doesn't it? Well,
the thing is, if you look at that, I mean, Coutinho, if he was half the player and he comes at Villa, he'd do a fantastic job. We're all hoping he can produce the form. But we've all been realistic. The last 2 or 3 years, he hasn't hit the form he has when he was at Liverpool. But that doesn't mean he won't do it on the Gerrard. Listen, an half fit or playing half the same Coutinho would be a great asset for Aston Villa Football Club. So, you know, I'm all for it. But at the end of the day, he's got to do it on the pitch. And that's all that matters.
Dennis, you happy with that? With Gerrard and Coutinho and the sale of Grealish?
Listen, Gerrard's got a great football record, hasn't he? He's been in the manager job 2 years and has won the championship up in the Premiership up in Scotland. So he's no mug, yeah. And he's no mug to think now that coming down to be at Aston Villa isn't going to be a great opportunity for him. So it's a great opportunity for him. It's a great opportunity to the football club. But I think the thing about it is that the two guys who own the football club now, they know that they can push Aston Villa now into Asia. They know they can push Aston Villa into the rest of the world because of the icon that's at the top, Steven Gerrard, because he must have some following abroad. Now, if he's going to be attached to Aston Villa now, that is one great piece of marketing. Yeah, from their point of view. But that doesn't mean to say that it's all about marketing, because Steve Gerrard has got good people around him, from what we hear. So, as Tony said, I think, there's a chance for them now. I mean, the other night against Man United, okay, Man United aren't the greatest team in the world these days. They're so dysfunctional as a team. Yeah, I'd be worried if I was a manager of Man United. I'd be more worried about them, in being successful this season than I would at the moment with Villa. Listen, he's lost 3 games on the trot as Stevie Gerrard.
Yeah,
he's got Man United again at this weekend.
Yeah,
so he needs to get a win, to sort of get things back on course again. If United play the same team that they did the other night, I don't see any reason why Villa can't come out really on top. I think they were unfortunate with a couple of occasions. But this is the thing, you see, is that when you get a chance to score goals, you've got to put them in the back of the net. Because at the end of the season, you'll start looking back and think to yourself, what if? And this is important now that on Saturday, they can get a good result and a win. Because they do need... they look as if they're playing with a lot of confidence. It doesn't look as any confidence missing. But it's just giving those... I mean, that was too easy, that goal against Man United.
Yeah.
There was 3 or 4 defenders around them and allowed McTominay to get in. So they'll have to sort that one out, with a simple cross like that. But for the most of the game, I think everybody felt that, Villa are going to get a result here. And they failed to actually get the result, which I thought they deserved. So things are happening. And with Coutinho coming in, the new left back who they might get from Tony's old team, Everton, if he comes in, they're really strengthening the squad. They really are, you know. And the thing is, if you strengthen the squad, the important thing then is keeping everybody happy. Because if Coutinho comes in, where does he play?
Yeah.
Whose place is he going to take? Someone's now going to be left out. More than likely, it'll be the young lad, Ramsey. Yeah,
he's done well, hasn't he?
He's the easy one to leave out.
Yeah, Dennis, with that though, but you need the legs there, mate. Is Coutinho, is he going to be a Jack Grealish where once they lose the ball, he ain't going to pick up? You know what I mean? Ramsey, you've got to give Ramsey credit, mate. He does try and pick up. He gets behind the ball, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think what you've got to do then, you've got to get a little bit more out of Douglas Luiz, defensively.
Yeah.
You know? And also Steve and John McGinn. But you see, John McGinn to me is an attacking midfield player, not a defending midfield player. So he needs to have more security in midfield when they lose the ball. Yeah. You know, and so bringing Coutinho in, he had this like free role for Liverpool, didn't he? But he was playing in a good team as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Listen, things are looking up. You know, they've as Tony said, they got all that money from Jack Grealish. He doesn't seem to be hitting it off very well at Man City. He seems to have sort of. He'll be lucky if he gets into the England World Cup squad the way he's playing at the moment. Yeah. Whether he'd have been a different player if he'd have stayed at Villa, he probably would have been, because it was all about him. Yeah, from the point of view of the last 3 seasons. But now he's playing in the bigger. He just doesn't seem to do anything. It's a total. His whole style of playing has totally changed at Man City. So it might take a year before he actually gets used to what he needs to do. But he's certainly not the Jack Grealish we all knew. But certainly Villa, I think, have got the players to move forward. Ollie Watkins needs to score more goals, but he needs to stop running on the wings all the time. He needs to be in the box a bit more often. Yeah, he's doing too much. He's doing too much work out wide for me. If I'm going to be honest, he needs to be more central. He needs to be making runs down the middle, going towards goal a bit more often. But listen, you know, Stevie Gerrard, he's played in great teams. He knows what a great team's all about. He's worked with great managers. I don't think he just needs a bit of time to sort things out in his own mind who he wants in the team. He's got a chance now through this transfer window, you know, to really go to town. You know, he's got to get rid of a few. The ones he doesn't want, he needs to get them off the books so that he can cut down on the wage bill. But as Tony said, this is a great opportunity now to go forward with an icon manager and 2 chairmen who could look to invest and really give this team something to and give the fans something to shout about.
Be nice to think it wouldn't be another 40 years for Villa to win something.
Yeah,
I wouldn't think so. No, I think when you say win something,
well, to really go on and
you've got to win one of the big 3.
Yeah,
the FA Cup, the league, and obviously win a European one.
Yeah,
they're the big 3. Winning the Carabao Cup is not the one you want.
Yeah, Dennis, Neil, one for you, Villa supporters. We'll look at the situation. Or Man United supporters, what would you rather have this year? Villa qualify for Europe, or win the FA Cup, Champions League? I'd go for the FA Cup.
I was going to agree, FA Cup.
I'll go for the FA Cup.
It doesn't say in the future finish 4th brackets qualified for Europe, does it? But it says FA Cup winners.
I'd go for the FA Cup winners. I mean, I think if you ask lots of Villa's older supporters, that's what they want. They haven't seen at Villa Park for 50 odd years. It's something like that. You know, me as a supporter, a sport Villa, obviously you haven't no watching. I'd like to see them win the FA Cup. I really would. Obviously, progress the way they're going, but if they qualify for the Champions League, I know they're going to get battered. So with the team at the moment, but that doesn't mean that the way they're building in another 3 or 4 years, they can hold their own there. But at the moment, I'd like to see the FA Cup. We're Man United now. This is you play Man United Saturday. What would they rather have? They would rather qualify for the Champions League than win the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And, it's crazy because, a lot of teams, a lot of people put the FA Cup. Me as a kid, that was all about the FA Cup. Well, the European Cup was just a dream somebody else to get into. But the FA Cup was reality that we all could play in, you know. So I would still love Villa to win the FA Cup. I really would.
Well, it was 1957, wasn't it? When
Yeah,
they last won it.
yeah.
So, they've been to Wembley twice, as Chelsea and Arsenal, and lost both times. So, you know, a visit to Wembley in the FA Cup and to raise the trophy, I think would be that, especially for a lot of fans, you know, because if you think fans who started watching when we won the league and won the European Cup, the one that's missing for them, is the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And I think the fans who joined the team when Tony and I joined, I think they would be sort of, they would be saying, well, I just need that one to complete it, and I'll be happy. Yeah, so I think Tony's right. You know, the FA Cup, and that's why it's disappointing the other night against Man United, because I thought they could have gone on a good run in the FA Cup if they got the right draws. And but losing that game, which I've just felt that they I won't say they deserved to win, but I say they had the better opportunity to win.
Yeah,
brilliant, boys, lads.
It's been absolutely terrific. I mean, rekindling old memories, remembering old matches, thinking back. It was great days, and we're thrilled to be able to share some of those memories with us. It's been absolutely brilliant, as I knew it would be.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time, lads. It's been really enjoyable.
Nice to speak to you all.
We'll see you again, and
we might see Dennis as well.
We might see
Dennis. Yeah, full stop.
Yeah, you may see me. Neil, the one thing I'd like to mention,
yes, please,
we sort of spoke about, was the AV40.
Oh, AV40. Yes. Apologies. Yeah.
AV40. We've got a website called AV40tribute.com. And what happened was at the start of last season, we were going to celebrate 40 years of winning the league, not the European Cup.
Right.
But because of COVID, we didn't do it.
Okay.
But we actually put together a project called AV40, and we've got stuff we brought out, like a book and everything, and merchandise and everything that we've done. But the other thing we were doing, we were going to use this as a springboard for our Q&A sessions. We've got all the goals that we scored in the league championship here. So we were going to have that as a background and everything. We had everything organised, but COVID put an end to it. What we are now is we're into the European Cup. So we've moved it now to the European Cup 40th anniversary. So in May, and hopefully May the 26th, we're looking to have an anniversary celebratory dinner at Villa Park, which hopefully will be announced in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. But this is a project that the players have put together, that we've done it with support of Aston Villa. But we would just like the fans to realise that we've missed them from the point of view of getting out and talking to them and doing our Q&As and everything. And they've missed us because, you know, I think as a squad, I think we're so amenable to fans. You know, the fact that we're nearly 10 of us still live in the area, practically. And, you know, we're at games an awful lot, but we know an awful lot of people up at Villa Park. And, you know, we've got a real good rapport with them. And, you know, we want to see them all again at the end on May the 26th to celebrate, the second great event in 2 years in winning the European Cup. Because I think they were as amazed. I think they were as amazed as us when we won that trophy in Rotterdam. Yeah. And we want to share all those memories again with them. And this will be that opportunity. So come next year, or not this season, but the season after, when we've done our 40th anniversary, as you said now, Villa really need now to start getting back on the map. And I think with the guy they've got up front, with Gerrard and the people that are running the football club, I don't think they'll ever have a better opportunity. But AV40tribute.com is where you need to go to find out about us.
Right.
Dennis, that's fantastic. I think you've done the job for us by announcing it. And,
that's on the podcast.
Yeah, let's all get to Villa Park on the 26th of May.
Okay, boys. Are we finished now?
We are, boys. Thank you so much.
Look after yourself.
Cheers.
You too.
Cheers, Tony.
Nice
Cheers, Dennis.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, cheers,
All the best
Neil.
to you, lads.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.
mate. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks to Tony and Dennis for a fabulous podcast and those great memories of the Villa glory days. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Old Spice Boys podcast, which is produced and edited by Sam Sethi.
You can find all our past episodes on oldspiceboys.football and keep up to date with us on Twitter @the Old Spice Boys. Thanks again for listening.